And maybe we'll begin now because you know it's today's important because I think the college is uh, in for a different stage of its existence, and I think two reasons for that. One is I think it's never been more necessary, and secondly, I don't think the climate has ever been so good for us in terms of a bust economy, but everyone recognising the health system really needs to change. And I just thought right at the beginning it might be worth sort of re-enunciating what we're all about and why we're here and why it matters. Because a conversation yesterday led me to think that actually there are two aspects to the college. Um, and one is about individual connection, the relationship with the individual, about compassion and care, about providing continuity, about mind, body, and soul, holistic medicine, if you like. And that, a lot of our work's around that. The Integrated Medicine Alliance, bringing the different medical traditions, for instance, beyond pills, challenging a culture that puts 20% of its adult population, as we do in the UK, on antidepressants. And we're very much, I think, in that agenda of personal care and continuity, as was the conference in July. Social prescribing providing in the consultation another option, and our work both in prisons and on farms and also in schools, I think is sort of leading the way for different things that can be done for individuals. But and of course our faculties as well, the faculties of body, mind and musculoskeletal medicine, all trying to change the deal that we give to the individual in the consultation. But there's another aspect of our work that I think is beginning to develop, and that is about medicine being relevant to our communities, which I don't think it is at present. What are we doing for these poor 25% of young girls who are self-harming? What are we doing for the 40% of 11-year-olds in London that are overweight or obese? We're not really doing anything effective at the moment. And I feel that it's incumbent on the college for medicine to step out of the hospital and of the waiting room in our consultations to actually become relevant to what actually happens in the community. And one of the announcements today will be about a major movement in the college to do that, with the creation of something called the Integrated Health Alliance, which will bring together all health-minded organisations, rather like with the IMA, we brought together all the complementary organisations. But I'm all too aware that some people aren't that interested in complementary medicine, but may be interested in health. And therefore, I feel we need to major on both levels, so that this is seen as a crucial area for our work in future. So a lot of our work is involved in that, not only the creation of the Integrated Health Alliance, which we're going to tell you about today, but also the Eat Well communities, which were in the government strategy, the food strategy, which the government never carried out, having done a white paper and an inequalities paper and then having abandoned it. But we're going to do it and bring, hopefully, healthy eating to communities and show how it can be done. But much of our other work is involved in making medicine relevant to communities. Last week we had the nurse in every school meeting with the Department of Health to try and increase the ability of schools to help young people. We found out that 3,000 school nurses were present in 2010. There are now only 1,000. They're almost extinct. They've almost been excluded without any aspect of policy or agreement. And I think the college needs to be there to make sure that these things happen. And then connecting the individual and connecting the population is the initiative we're going to have of the SAGE practices. These will be GP practices that actually go a bit further, that either do something more on the human personal level or do something more in terms of connecting to the community. And of course our leadership groups, which you're going to hear about today, also doing exactly that, showing how we can lead a future that looks very different from the terrible mess we've got here at present. So I just thought it might be worth just going through those things and then quickly, because I don't want to steal the thunder of those speaking today, but over the last year, Well, social prescribing has continued. It's now 3,500 linked workers nationwide. I chair or attend a conference every 6 weeks with 33 different countries internationally, which are now social prescribing, following Britain's lead. And we've just had a conference which was fully booked for 2 days at Westminster University, international conference. So that's, and this was a college invention, so and a development. So congratulations for everything you've all done to make that happen. Beyond Pills Alliance, Sarah's going to speak about that, but again, moving fast, and we've now merged with the all-party group. So we're now the Beyond Pills Alliance rather than Beyond Pills, and Sarah will tell you a bit of the activity that's going on there, but becoming big with a tremendous amount of press exposure. Our integrated and personalised conference, which Catherine's going to talk about, 2,400 delegates this year altogether. So we're now a conference that is the biggest international conference on integrated health and care. Social prescribing in schools, our report's finally finished with some fascinating learning in terms of how to make it work or how to make it not work, and that will be available very soon. Debbie Sharp's going to talk about the King's great idea of linking farms to GP practices and what's happened there. But I'm sure Naveed will be telling us about the Integrated Medicine Alliance, as will we'll be hearing from William Bird about the new Integrated Health Alliance. Future health leaders, I think the absolute bedrock of the college is our young leaders, and we've got two extremely active groups now. We've got the faculty of the college led by Bogdan Hamar-Dinelli, and we've got the Commonwealth leaders, which Jonathan, who will be speaking later, is leading, and they're both going like topsy. And I don't see any other organisation breeding these really activists, really determined, prepared to spend the midnight oil young leaders to try and change what's going on. The Eat Well communities, ambitious, you'll hear a bit about them, but really to do what the government has failed to do over the last few years. And then a bit about the SAGE practices and our body, mind and musculoskeletal faculties. So we've got a star-packed afternoon, and it remains for me, before handing over, to thank our team, particularly Amanda, our Chief Executive, looking a bit worried over there, Amanda, but how she copes with the complexity of this organisation and the muddle of its chair and everything else. I simply do not know. You're a great hero, Amanda. Thank you very much. And she's got a great team. Claire Gaskin, Emma White, AJ here today, and Kay Bryn Hussey. Joe Tweedy, who's our comms chief, and Sarah Stacey, who we'll be hearing from later, who's been leading Beyond Pills. Thanks too to our trustees, Sarah and Michael and Simon. Incidentally, the unaudited accounts are now available on the Charity Commission website if you want to see them. Our sponsors, Nelson's, Vitibiotics, Make My Day Better, and private philanthropists, thanks Amy and Jonathan Lamb and George Farha. And of course, great thanks to our patron, who continues to be our patron from Prince to King, His Majesty King Charles. And I could go on forever, actually, mentioning all the people that are contributing in time or kind to the college, but I won't, because many of you are here today, and just want to say that I believe it's time for us to change gear. It's time for the college to become a real fighting force. So we've just made the decision in the last few months to completely change the way we work. That's to say, our council of extremely wise and committed people, which was to some extent an advisory council, is now changing to become a cabinet of people, each with a portfolio, each with a job to do, and each reporting back from their various works. And so I wanted to thank also people who have sat on that advisory group, have been incredibly effective, given great service, but who will be standing down today. And they are Len Gubler, who was our trustee, On the council, Wilbur Harrell, Amit Bhagaiva, Anton Borg, Ellie Crossley, Jonathan Osborne, Elizabeth Thompson and To Wong. Thanks to all of them for years of really great service, and we hope they'll all continue as advisors to the organisation as we become a bit more streamlined, a bit more ferocious, and a bit more active and hopefully effective. So that's really just about all I've got to say.